But of course, this word bourgeois has gotten, in the last couple of centuries, has gotten this real strong, bad connotation. And it got it originally from Marx. Actually, it got it originally from Rousseau, who distinguished between a bourgeois and a citoyen, a mere townsperson as against a really good citizen. Okay? But that same distinction 100 years later was amplified by Marx and Engels. And bourgeois came to mean everything bad about capitalism. The bourgeoisie were all those bad folks who profited from capitalism. And in ordinary talk, calling a person bourgeois is bad. "Oh, Daddy, you're so bourgeois," says the spoiled suburban girl. There's a famous blues song that I was singing at dinner, actually, by Huddy Ledbetter, called Bourgeois Town, about Washington. It goes like this. I won't sing because I can't, but it goes, "Those white folk in Washington, they sure know how. Treat a colored man just to make him bow in a bourgeois town. Yeah, it's a bourgeois town. I got the bourgeois blues. I'm going to spread the news all around. Here's where, let's see, home of the brave, land of the free. Don't want to be maltreated by no bourgeoisie. In a bourgeois town, I got the bourgeois blues. I'm going to spread the news all around." You should hear him on a 12-string guitar singing that song. All right, so it's a term of contempt, of political contempt. But all it really means is the middle class. That's what it means analytically speaking. So it means everyone in this room. Because everyone in this room is either a college graduate or is going to become a college graduate. And in our culture, being a college graduate welcomes you into the middle class. I mean, if you don't graduate from high school, it's a little hard to get into the middle class, but you can, even so, in the United States you can at least. But education is the big, as you know, is the big ticket to the bourgeoisie, to a middle class occupation. An occupation as a school teacher, that's middle class. Or as the manager of a restaurant, that's middle class. Or an owner of a small business, that's certainly middle class. Or an employee of a big corporation, indubitably middle class. So those are all members of the bourgeoisie, and you can see that the bourgeoisie has gotten very big. In the time of Marx, the bourgeoisie was rather small. Now it's rather big. So how about virtue? Well, in Marxist terms, it's just nuts to say bourgeois virtue. What do you mean bourgeois virtue? These are the extractors of surplus value. These are these bad guys who because of the faults in capitalism, every time they employ someone, extract profits. What, you think that's virtuous? Are you nuts? That's how my friends on the left would view my Marxist and socialist friends, of which I have lots. That would be their claim. In fact, I don't say it would be their claim, it is their claim. They say it to me all the time. But I also have friends on the right. I have lots of friends of all different politics. The friends on the right are also suspicious of the bourgeoisie, because the bourgeoisie is not aristocratic. My friends on the right, kind of extreme right, are very nostalgic for the days of lords and ladies. Think of it in the South. The conservatives who look back to Southern agrarian the wonderful way it was when the darkies were gay. This phrase has changed in meaning, I guess. When the darkies were gay. That kind of nostalgia for a older aristocracy-based way of looking at the world is one that conservatives often hold. And it's also very irritating to those people to hear that the bourgeoisie are virtuous. How can they be virtuous? They're not heroes in the aristocratic sense. They're not saints. Now notice who our heroes are nowadays. Our heroes are sports figures and so on. Those are heroes in an aristocratic sense. The slam dunk is an aristocratic gesture. It's a noble insult to the defending basketball team. So on both sides of politics, on the left, Marxist socialist side, on the right, conservative, nostalgic side, the bourgeoisie are in bad. People don't like the bourgeoisie. Bourgeois virtue to these people is a contradiction in terms. Now this project of mine that Frank mentioned is to overturn all this. Look, as I told you, we're all bourgeois. Everyone in this room is. So let's get used to it, huh? Let's stop feeling bad because we're not Shane. You ever seen? How many people have seen the movie Shane? Put your hands up. I see that a lot of young people haven't seen Shane. You need to rush down to your store and get a copy of Shane because it's the greatest Western ever done. People are unhappy with being bourgeois, yet they are. And from kind of a psychological point of view, if you want to look at my work as therapy, I'm trying to help you all. You all are just hopelessly bourgeois. Most of you are going to end up with at least a 2-car garage, probably 3, and a nice suburban house, and a couple of kids, and a husband who's marginally faithful. And that's going to be your life, and you're going to love it. That's what most of us do in the United States. You know, I don't think a European can quite grasp the United States until she's flown over the United States at low altitude. You have to be on one of these small planes to see what the United States actually is. It's, you know, there are lots of poor people in the United States. I don't deny that, and I want something. Let's take care of that. But there are also a hell of a lot of suburbanites who live in these houses that by international standards are gigantic. The poor people in the United States are rich by international and historical standards. That's absolutely clear. In terms of material goods, at least. Spiritual goods, well, I don't know, but in material terms, they're much better off than their ancestors and much better off than people in other countries. So we've got to get over feeling guilty about being rich. And I'll give you some therapy about how to get over it if you feel that way. And we've got to get over being ashamed of being middle class. I want you to stop being ashamed of being middle class if you are. Now, if you're not, then you're pre-educational.